Let discipline speak louder than your voice. In a world that celebrates noise and instant attention, the ones who truly win are those who remain committed in silence. Discipline is not flashy, doesn't crave validation. It wakes up early, puts in the work, stays late, and repeats the cycle, regardless of who's watching. Your voice can make promises, but only your discipline can fulfill them. Talking about goals is easy. Living them daily, even when it's uncomfortable, even when motivation is gone, that's where character is built. Discipline is what you do when the excitement fades. It's the early morning when no one claps for you. It's the late night when no one checks on your progress. It's the boring, repetitive, often thankless commitment to a vision that only you can see. You don't need to explain your actions when your routine already says enough. The world might doubt your silence, but it cannot deny your consistency. Every rep, every hour, every sacrifice, those are your statements. That's your loudest voice. Let others talk, let them announce, let them seek the spotlight. Your job is to show up day in and day out until your results speak so loudly that no words are needed. Discipline doesn't shout, it proves. The right time is not yours to choose. You can prepare, you can plan, you can pray, but you can't force timing to bend to your will. Life doesn't unfold on your schedule, and greatness doesn't arrive when you demand it. It comes when you're truly ready, not when you feel ready, but when you've earned it through patient struggle and silent perseverance. Timing isn't about control, it's about trust. It's about staying committed when nothing seems to be moving, staying focused when progress feels invisible. There will be moments when you feel overlooked, underappreciated, and stuck. You'll want to question why things aren't happening for you while others seem to be soaring, but those moments are not rejections, they're refinement. They're reminders that not every season is harvest. Some seasons are for rooting, grounding, and growing stronger in silence. You're not being delayed, you're being developed. You can't rush what's meant to last. You can't fast forward to success without mastering the parts that seem slow and insignificant. The waiting season teaches humility. It reveals what you truly want and what you're truly made of. You have to trust that what's meant for you is already written, but it won't arrive before you're truly prepared to carry it. Forcing things too soon leads to collapse. Letting them come in their own time creates foundation. So when you feel the pressure to speed things up, remember, your job is not to choose the moment. Your job is to be ready when the moment chooses you. Don't announce moves, make them. In a world obsessed with telling, proving, and posting, there's unmatched strength in quiet execution. You don't need to declare what you're about to do. You don't need to convince anyone of your plans. Just move, just build, just work. The loudest accomplishments are born in silence, away from attention, away from commentary. When you stop talking about what you're going to do and start doing it relentlessly, you shift from potential to power. Every time you broadcast your next step, you give away energy. You create noise before the action has had time to take shape. But when you stay silent and focused, you channel all that energy inward, into momentum, into growth, into results. There's something magnetic about someone who just shows up with progress instead of promises. People respect outcomes more than opinions. They believe actions, not intentions. Silence doesn't mean you're unsure. It means you're too focused to explain. It means you value your time and energy enough to use it building rather than bragging. When you operate quietly, you eliminate distractions, bypass outside judgment, and protect your vision from unnecessary noise. You don't need validation while you're building. You only need discipline, commitment, and time. Let the results do the talking. Let the finished product be the announcement. Because when you finally show what you've been working on, when you reveal the outcome without ever hinting at the process, that's when the impact is the loudest. So don't post it, perfect it. Don't talk about it, become it. Stillness is not weakness, it's strategy. In a world that equates motion with progress and noise with success, choosing to be still is often misunderstood. But stillness is where clarity lives. It's where strength gathers. It's the calm before the execution, the breath before the breakthrough. While others are scrambling, chasing, reacting, you're observing, listening, aligning. Stillness isn't inactivity, it's intentional control. It's pausing not because you're lost, but because you're calculating. There's power in the pause. There's wisdom in waiting and not rushing every decision and not responding to every opinion. The disciplined mind knows that movement without direction leads nowhere. Sometimes the best move is to stay exactly where you are, focus inward, and let the dust settle around you. That's not giving up. That's sharpening the blade. Stillness gives you the advantage of vision. When you're not caught up in the race to be seen or heard, you begin to see patterns others miss. You begin to understand people, situations, and yourself in ways that chaos never allows. You become deliberate with your words, purposeful with your steps, and unshakable in your presence. Most people fear silence because they associate it with absence or weakness, but those who truly understand power know that the loudest minds are the ones that can sit still and remain unbothered. Not every battle needs a reaction. Not every opportunity needs to be grabbed in haste. Sometimes the smartest move is to watch, wait, and prepare in silence until the right moment reveals itself. Stillness doesn't mean you're behind. It means you're playing at a different level. Let the work whisper your name. In a world where everyone wants to be seen, the ones who leave a lasting impact are those who let their effort speak for itself. You don't need to chase recognition when your work carries weight. The real ones don't need to shout. They move in silence, day after day, building, refining, sacrificing. And the results eventually speak in places their voice never reached. When you stay consistent in the dark, your name starts to travel in the light. There's something timeless about people who focus more on becoming than performing. No need for applause, no craving for credit, just a commitment to excellence whether someone is watching or not. It's easy to talk a big game, but the people who let their actions do the talking are the ones who stand out without ever having to stand on a stage. Your grind, your discipline, your passion, those are the things that create a reputation worth having. When you pour yourself into your craft, your work becomes your identity, and that kind of identity doesn't need a label or a title to validate it. People begin to notice the results. They hear about the quality. They feel the difference. Your name becomes a quiet echo in rooms you haven't even entered yet, not because you shouted it, but because your work carried it there. The goal isn't to be viral. The goal is to be undeniable. Let your dedication earn the respect your words never could. Let your work move ahead of you, speak for you, and build a legacy you don't have to explain. When you stay locked in and focused, when you give everything to the process, the world eventually turns around and asks, who did this? And the answer won't come from you. It'll come from the whisper of your work. Growth happens in the quiet. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need permission. It unfolds slowly, steadily, and most of all, silently. The moments when no one is watching, when no one is praising, when the spotlight is nowhere to be found, those are the moments where transformation takes place. That's where the real work happens. You don't see a seed become a tree overnight. It breaks through the dirt in silence, roots itself in the dark, and stretches upward only when it's ready. The world may not notice your quiet efforts right away. It may not clap for your small wins, your sacrifices, your consistency, but that's the beauty of true growth. It doesn't require applause. It requires patience, resilience, and belief. The late nights of studying, the early mornings of training, The uncomfortable conversations you have with yourself when no one else is around, those are the foundations of greatness. It's in those quiet hours with no distractions and no noise that you figure out who you really are. Noise can be a distraction. It can confuse motion for progress, but silence sharpens focus. It forces you to confront the truth about your habits, your goals, your discipline. And once you lean into that silence, you begin to hear what matters most. Your inner voice, your purpose, your hunger. You don't need a crowd to grow. You don't need permission to evolve. You just need to commit in the quiet. And that quiet growth builds something strong, something solid, something that lasts. It may not be flashy, it may not be visible right away, but when it reveals itself, people will wonder how it happened so suddenly, and you'll know it didn't. It happened day by day, in silence, when no one was watching. Silence filters distractions, not dreams. When you quiet the outside world, you start to hear the inside one more clearly. There's a kind of clarity that only comes when the noise fades, when the opinions, expectations, and comparisons are no longer the loudest voices in your life. In that stillness, your purpose rises, not because it wasn't there before, but because now, finally, there's space for it to breathe. Silence isn't the absence of ambition, it's the removal of interference. The world constantly pulls at your attention. Notifications, headlines, gossip, and endless chatter demand your energy and focus. And the more you listen to all of it, the further you drift from your own path. But when you choose silence, intentional, focused silence, you take your power back. You begin to see which voices matter and which ones never did. Distractions lose their grip. Clarity sharpens. Your vision becomes yours again. In that quiet, your dreams don't disappear, they get louder. Not in volume, but in conviction. You start to see the steps more clearly. You recognize what's worth your time and what's just noise. Silence gives you the strength to say no to the urgent so you can say yes to the important. You don't need constant motivation when your mind is clear. You don't need endless validation when your direction is firm. People often mistake silence for indecision, but in reality, it's where the deepest decisions are made. It's where plans are refined, identities are shaped, and futures are built. Your silence isn't a pause in progress. It's the foundation of it. When you strip away the distractions, you don't lose your dreams, you find them. And this time, you chase them without the noise trying to pull you off course. So remember this. Silence is not your weakness, it's your weapon. In a world obsessed with noise, choose the path of discipline, patience, and quiet confidence. You don't need to prove your worth to anyone. You don't need to announce your every move. Stay still, stay focused, stay silent. Let your growth speak. Let your work whisper, and let your discipline roar louder than any words ever could. Because when you honor the silence, everything that's meant for you will come naturally, powerfully, and right on time.